Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back, and I hope you enjoyed the 30 on 30. They're all in the description down below. And for those of you who don't know what that is, I did a breakdown, an off-season breakdown of all 30 teams. Okay, one video per team. Identified some of their major needs, what I think they should do versus my predictions, what I think they'll actually do. Forgive the sirens in the background. There's a little bit of a Christmas parade going on. So Santa Claus is around here somewhere. But so that's all in the description down below. And I have a couple other videos, my MLB free agent predictions, my contract predictions, and a couple videos on New York Yankees as well. And so if you're a first timer of this channel, welcome. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification if you like good baseball content. This channel is definitely for you. Thanks for my people that have been here since the beginning. You're the best. Today I'm going to go over my first video out the gate, starting a new one. 5 bold and crazy trade proposals that I think could change the competitive landscape of baseball. And I think it's, a lot of 2-team trades and stuff like that, but every now and then it's a solid 3-team trade. And I want to go over 5 of them that could, try to make them as balanced as possible. Not every one of them includes a uber-duper superstar. Some of them involves, obviously, legitimate stars, but also there's a couple of balanced trades here that, each one of these trades identifies and addresses needs for certain teams. So I try to keep it as balanced as possible. So the team that gets the uber star obviously is going to give up the most in the trade and so on. But I think you'll find this enjoyable. So here we go. Let's get to it. Looking at my baseball book. Number 5. I'm going to work my way from 5 to 1. It involves the New York Mets, the Minnesota Twins, and the Houston Astros. Okay, Houston Astros will be getting Michael Conforto, who's the starting outfielder from the Mets. Keone Cavaco, who is the number 7 prospect, is a shortstop prospect for the Minnesota Twins. And Matthew Allen, who's the New York Mets' number 4 prospect. He's a right-handed pitcher. So they will get a starting outfielder, obviously, a top shortstop prospect, and a top pitching prospect. Minnesota Twins get J.T. Ginn, who's the number 7 prospect from the Mets, who's a right-handed pitcher. Hunter Brown, who's the number 6 prospect from the Houston Astros, a right-handed pitcher. Okay, they give up the least, so they're getting the least amount in terms of overall volume of the trade. They're getting 2 pitching prospects, okay? And the New York Mets get the prize here. They get Carlos Correa, okay, to be their starting shortstop. Now, would I be surprised if they had to give up one of their top shortstop prospects? No, but I have the feeling that would be more so in a 2-team trade, like a direct trade with the Houston Astros, which is still possible. But sometimes teams prefer to add a 3rd team, which is why I'm doing this video. Okay, they would get Carlos Correa, and they would also get Blaine Enlow from the Minnesota Twins, their number 10 prospect, right-handed pitcher. So the Mets would get a starting shortstop, a superstar starting shortstop, and a pitching prospect. Okay, so that's trade number 5. Trade number 4 involves the Chicago White Sox, the Milwaukee Brewers, and the New York Yankees. Okay, Chicago White Sox would get stud left-handed reliever Josh Hader to add to that bullpen. They would get Estevan Florial, who's the Yankees' number 3 prospect and outfielder, who's blocked by all the outfielders in the Yankees, and Zach Brown, who is a pitcher for the Milwaukee Brewers, right-handed pitcher for the Milwaukee Brewers at the Major League level. Milwaukee Brewers would get Luke Voigt, starting first baseman from the Yankees. They would also get Luis Gil, who's one of their, I think he's their number 4, number 5 prospect, is a right-handed pitcher. And they would also get Dane Dunning, who is a pitcher from the Chicago White Sox at the Major League level. Okay, so they get a starting first baseman, a top pitching prospect, and a pitcher for their Major League team as well. Since they're giving up Josh Hader and they're giving up a starting pitcher who's going to be Corbin Burns, who's going to be the main attraction for the New York Yankees. Okay, so he's starting pitcher. They would also get Jonathan Stever, who's a right-handed pitching prospect from the Chicago White Sox, and Aaron Ashby, a left-handed pitcher from the Milwaukee Brewers. I think he's a reliever. So Yankees would get 2 pitchers, and I would actually get 3 pitchers. One of which I think is a reliever. Actually, sorry, 2 of which is a reliever. Are relievers. So that would be the number 3 trade. The number 4 trade. So the White Sox get a stud reliever. Milwaukee Brewers get that Yankees starting first baseman. The Yankees get Corbin Burns, who will be their reliable number 2 pitcher to slide right in behind Garrett Cole, which is what they desperately need. Now, if this was them getting Corbin Burns and Josh Hader, the Yankees, let's say, if a 2-team trade, they would obviously be giving up a lot more. But this is a 3-team trade, and it's a relatively balanced trade. Even though the Brewers are giving up Hader and Burns, they're getting a pretty good return too. They might get an additional prospect out of it, maybe 2. Maybe one from the Yankees and one from the White Sox, but it's possible. Number 3 involves the Colorado Rockies, Los Angeles Dodgers, and the Seattle Mariners. The Mariners would get John Gray, who's one of the starting pitchers from the Colorado Rockies currently, who only has 1 more year left of control until he's a free agent in 2022. They would also get Keibert Ruiz, okay, who's the Dodgers' top catching prospect, and he's currently blocked by Will Smith, who's their starting catcher. And they would also get Jacob Amaya, who's an infield prospect from the Los Angeles Dodgers. So it's clear that the Dodgers are giving up the most. And one reason why is because they're going to be getting the jackpot of the trade. Okay, so again, Seattle gets a starting pitcher, a catcher, a top catcher who can probably be their starting catcher, and an infielder as well for depth. The Dodgers get Nolan Arenado for third base. Okay, and they also get Cal Raleigh, who's a catcher from the Seattle Mariners, to kind of replace Keibert Ruiz to back up Will Smith. So they get 2 pieces, but they get the big piece. And the Colorado Rockies will get Kyle Seager, who's currently the Seattle Mariners starting third baseman, so he'll go over there and replace Nolan Arenado at half the price. Okay, so they would get a lot of salary relief in that as well. And Gavin Lux, so they would get another stud infield prospect who's a Rookie of the Year, and from the Dodgers. So Colorado would get a new starting third baseman and another infielder. The Dodgers would get Arenado and a catcher. And the Mariners would get a starting pitcher, starting or backup catcher, and another infielder for depth. So that's one of the superstar involved trades. The next one, number 2, involves the Miami Marlins, the Washington Nationals, and the Chicago Cubs. Another superstar involved trade. Miami would get Wilson Contreras, starting catcher from the Cubs. The Cubs have made it clear they're open for business now and are willing to, take offers and trades for everybody. They would also get Drew Mendoza, who's an infield first base / third base from Washington Nationals, a top prospect. So again, they get a starting catcher and a top infield prospect. Washington Nationals would get Chris Bryant, headliner of the trade, and Chase Strumpf, who is an infielder from the Chicago from the Chicago Cubs. So they would get 2 players. Each team in this one gets 2 players. Okay, and the Chicago Cubs will get Elieser Hernandez, who is one of their young starting pitchers from the Marlins, and the Chicago White Cubs they're gutted right now at the major league and minor league level in terms of pitching, so they need pitching. And they would also get Will Gomez, who is the number 2 pitching prospect from the Washington Nationals, starting pitcher. So they would actually get 2 starting pitchers. One a top prospect who's pretty much near major league ready. The other one they can just slide right into their rotation. Okay, so again, they get 2 pitchers. The Cubs, the Washington Nationals get a stud third baseman and an infield prospect, and the Miami Marlins get a starting catcher and another stud infield prospect. Okay, they've got a lot of young pitching, so adding some position players would be a good thing for them, particularly a catcher who can handle those young starters and experienced starters. So that's number 2. And the last trade involves the Detroit Tigers, the San Diego Padres, and the Tampa Bay Rays. The Detroit Tigers have been involved in a couple of good 3-team trades over the past decade. I mean, they were involved in one where, I don't know if you remember this, but Didi Gregorius came from Arizona to the Yankees. Shane Green went from the Yankees to the Tigers, and the Max Scherzer went from the Tigers to the Diamondbacks. Okay, that was a huge trade. I think there was some other pieces involved, but that was a monster trade. Okay, so here's another one. The Tigers would get Vilal Brujan, who's the number 4 prospect from Tampa Bay, who would be the second base shortstop prospect. They get a legitimate shortstop prospect. Josh Lowe, an outfield prospect also from Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's given up the most in this. The teams that get the superstars are the ones that are going to give up the most in their trades. And they would also get Ryan Weathers, who is a left-handed pitcher from San Diego. So again, they would get an infield prospect, an outfield prospect, and a left-handed pitcher. The Detroit Tigers. San Diego would get the prize. They would get Blake Snell, starting pitcher to plug in that rotation. And unfortunately, with Clevenger out, they need another ace starting pitcher, and Snell would give them just that. And they would also get Daz Cameron, who is Detroit Tigers' number 7 prospect and outfielder. So they would get an ace pitcher and an outfield prospect. Okay, San Diego. And the Tampa Bay Rays would get Taylor Trammell, who's the number 5 prospect from San Diego as an outfielder. They would also get Matt Boyd back from the Detroit Tigers, so they would get a left-handed starter to replace Blake Snell. He's not as of the highest level as Blake Snell is, but still a serviceable left-hander who's, again, healthy. And they would also get Luis Patino, who's a number 3 prospect, a right-handed pitcher from the San Diego Padres. So the Tampa Bay Rays would get a left-handed pitcher, a pitching prospect, a top pitching prospect, and a top outfield prospect, both of which are in the top 100 MLB prospects list. San Diego will get the ace pitcher, Blake Snell, and they will get an outfield prospect. And Detroit Tigers will get a lot of prospect and player capital in return, or at least at the high level. They'd get a top infield prospect, a top outfield prospect, and a left-handed starting pitcher to slide in and replace Matt Boyd, who they're giving up. So, and they're at that point now where they can trade some of these assets, whatever they have, and bring in some younger guys, particularly young pitchers that might be able to, slide into a rotation headlined by Casey Mize now. So, those are my 5 3-team trades. Let me know what you think. Please hit that thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Please leave your feedback in the comments down below, obviously, and be sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification before you leave. Remember, you're not going to want to miss the video I'm going to do after this, because I'm going to be moving over to the 5 best and most realistic trade destinations for Francisco Lindor. So 5 blockbuster trades for Lindor is the next video. Not going to want to miss it, so stay tuned. Be safe, look out for each other, and I'll see you then.